Bingo, bongo, bango, the boys are back. Chris, how are you?
Great.
Great. Back again. College basketball.
That's right. We are your source to get ready for March Madness.
It's coming quick. Actually, to be honest,
3 weeks.
today is the last day of February.
Yeah,
So March is right around the corner. Yeah.
We're talking most impactful games of last week. Circling back to that, we're going to get into court storming, pro court storming, or
Anti-court storming.
Yep, thank you. There's a recent report about expanding the tournament, and then we'll look at this week, give you some games to keep an eye on, and
Got a little spicy something at the end for you folks.
that's right. So, jumping in, we got most impactful games of last week. We previewed them in our, preview of the upcoming games for last week. We had Houston beat Iowa State 73-65. That's Monday.
Yep.
Tuesday, probably the most surprising one. We had Creighton 85 beat UConn 66. Completely dominated them.
Yeah.
Utah State beat San Diego State 68-63. Out in the Mountain West, we mentioned that was a pretty tight race, like 5 teams within a game at the top. So there's a couple other games from that conference that are in here. St. Mary's beat San Francisco 70-66.
Yep.
Tight.
Yeah, tight. That was the 1 and the 2 from that conference at the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
Now Gonzaga has kind of flipped, but
Yep. So that was a close game. St. Mary's is kind of lengthening their lead there in that conference. Wednesday, we go New Mexico beat Colorado State 68-66. New Mexico was down 1 and they hit an and 1 layup with 3 seconds left.
Yeah, they did. I will say this last thing: the game on Tuesday, Toledo beat Akron. Those are the top 2 in the Mid American. Yeah, MAC.
Love it.
So that was the last one on Tuesday. But yeah,
Okay.
Wednesday was kind of crazy. That was Colorado State. I don't know about. I mean, I know they were ranked or potentially ranked, but yeah, that was a crazy game.
There's just another one of those teams that's at the top of the Mountain West trying to fight for a spot.
Yeah, got to. Tight.
It's good for them that they have so many teams up there because that means that they're going to be playing each other and there's potential for good wins that they can grab here at the end of the regular season.
Yeah, to make a pitch.
Which is all what they want.
Yeah, to make a case, yeah.
You got any for Wednesday, or we're going on to
Wednesday?
Thursday?
I do not.
All right, Thursday. Personally, my favorite game of the week. You got Tarleton State taking down Grand Canyon. That's 1-2 in the Western Athletic Conference. Grand Canyon's been dominating all year, but Tarleton State got them by 3 on Thursday.
Yeah, Grand Canyon's actually a team. Someone posted, I don't remember which analyst, that said if they make the tournament, potential.
Yeah,
I don't know. But potential. I'm pretty sure
Tarleton State beat them here, but Grand Canyon's kind of been rolling through the whole year. So if they don't make the tournament, then I would be very surprised.
Yep.
The other game on Thursday, big one, Washington State beat Arizona.
You talked them up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was a huge slip up from Arizona, to be honest. At home.
Yeah, that's not good. Not good for them.
No.
But Washington State, they kind of just been sliding by. They only have like 5-6 losses. Yeah, they've already hit 20 wins this year, but nobody's talking about them. Because you want to know why? I think.
Why is that?
Because they're on the West Coast and everybody's sleeping. It's the same thing as
college
football.
True. Yeah, it is hard. It's like the same thing though. Why, even like in the past years with Gonzaga, like people are like, oh, we know they're good, but we don't get to watch them because the game starts at 10 o'clock.
Nobody knows that USC sucks now because nobody is keeping up with them. They were top 25 ranked at the beginning of the year. Now they're barely scraping any wins off the table.
Yeah.
Any others for Thursday?
I don't have any for Thursday.
All right, Saturday.
You're gonna skip Friday?
Yeah.
Cornell beats Yale. Take the top of the Ivy League.
Cornell can't be top.
Yeah, now they are.
They are.
They're 9-1 in the conference.
Wow.
Yale's now 8-2.
Where's Princeton at?
They're also 9-1, so they're tied at the top. Not the top
with Cornell.
Yeah,
gotcha.
But that was like the game that if Yale wins, they're tied. Yeah, so that was my only thing on Friday.
That is a big one.
Yeah.
All right, so then we're moving to Saturday. Houston 82, Baylor 76.
Yeah, Houston's pretty good.
I don't want to say it. I'm not. I will. I was watching that game and I was really hoping that Baylor would win. Because now Houston is kind of like solid. I mean, they were always going to be a really good team going into March Madness, but I think that game, at least when I was watching, solidified in my mind that like it's going to be pretty challenging for me not to have them, at least in the Final Four.
Yeah. And we said this before, they're one of those teams who are always up there, and now that they're in a better conference, it's like, okay, they're playing better competition.
Yeah.
The one knock will consistently be, like, can they score?
They can
like,
score.
their defense will be great. They put up a bunch of points here, and then...
They can score.
I'm just saying, they only have
But
a
I
few
wanted
plays.
them to lose on Saturday to Baylor to kind of, like, knock them back so less people would be like... If people were just looking at box scores, they'd be like, oh, they lost to Baylor. Okay, they're okay. They're all right, and they're pretty good, but, like... Are they actually like the best team in the country? Maybe not. But now that they beat Baylor in overtime there and are at the top of the Big 12, then
Baylor also is very surprising because Baylor is was the 11th seed at that game, but they're 19-8 overall and 8-6 in the Big 12.
Yeah,
that doesn't seem like a top 11 team to me.
8-6 in the Big 12 is like, wait a minute, what?
You're an 11?
Yeah,
that's crazy. But
next one on Saturday, North Carolina 54, Virginia 44, which is not good for Virginia, I think. I mean, it tells you something about North Carolina that they can win a game that's bogged down because they want to be super fast-paced and score a bunch of points. But they were able to beat a solid team when they score in the 50s. So I think that says more about North Carolina than it does about Virginia. I mean, it could be equally. It tells me North Carolina, it might be better than I thought they were, and they're able to win in different ways. But Virginia, it's just not going to happen for me this year.
I mean, you look at that game, it's like, so just pulling up the box score, like R.J. Davis was 1 of 14 shooting. He had 9 of 10 free throw lines, so he scored 12 points. But they were 32% from the field, 32% from three. Virginia was 14% from three, 27% from the field. Like,
yeah, that's not good.
It's 44 points. Yeah. I mean, this is why, if they make the tournament, potential first round again.
Very poor.
Yeah.
What's their overall
11-6.
record?
20-8.
Okay. Yeah. So I feel like they're in the tournament.
Oh, I feel like they're in too, but I'm just saying that's a tough team to be like, I really want
matchup.
Yeah.
All right. My last game on Saturday, Kentucky 117, Alabama 95. I think you called that.
Kentucky bounced back. Yeah, I said that.
Yeah.
But I also say the one notable game, and we'll get more into it, was Wake Forest beating Duke. But that goes to our second point, which we'll talk about later. But it is surprising because I feel like Duke has the name, but I just feel like they're really not that good. I just don't think they're a Final Four Elite 8 team.
They were starting to show me some things
later on in the year,
the last 2.5 weeks or so. So I actually disagree. I think that they were starting to find themselves. Yeah.
All right, we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Well, let's just use that to kind of roll into the next topic.
Okay, there you go.
So
wait, do you have anything for Sunday?
No, I don't.
Okay, my only game Sunday was because we talked about before. Creighton beats UConn, but then they lose to St. John's at St. John's. Yeah. This is the crazy thing when I was watching that game. St. John's is the only court that literally the fans are like on the court.
Oh, really?
Like they're like one of those high school games where like the ball went out of bounds on the sideline and they had to move fans so the player could be out of bounds.
Wow.
It's the craziest, stupidest court I've ever seen. Yeah. And then like the coach is like right here and he's literally touching fans. Like fans are chirping at him the whole game. It's just like wild.
That's pretty, I love it.
Home field advantage, I guess. Home field advantage.
That's what we want. All right, well now we're going to
now we'll move on. Yep.
So Wake Forest beat Duke. Pretty big game, very big game for Wake Forest because they were on the bubble. I think they were the first team out going into that game. It was either first team out or last four in. So they were right on the bubble there. And a win against Duke is going to do a lot for them, which happened. The fans stormed the court. One of them ran into a player from Duke, and now the conversation shifted to should court storming be allowed. What are your initial thoughts, David?
Well, we talked about it, and I think the hard part is because everyone's like, oh, you watched the video and Filipowski, whatever. I think the hardest part about it is like I get the excitement, I get that. You just beat a very good team. But also at the same time, like, it just doesn't make sense, like, player safety-wise, if that's what we're taking into consideration here. Like, players are going to get hurt more often. It's a whole crowd just running full speed. Like, if you're Kyle Filipowski, like you're protecting yourself. Like I get it. Like what are you supposed to do? The guy is literally running at you full speed out of the corner of your eye. You're just trying to get out of there. And so I do think that court storming needs to be addressed at obviously the higher level. I think there has to be something to be done where it's like security. You can't let them storm the court until like 20 seconds after the game or something, after the handshake lines or something. Because if you look at the Caitlin Clark situation, like if somebody majorly gets hurt while court storming, people are going to be pissed. Like if Filipowski would have like
this is
broke. He's playing. He's playing tonight.
He's a major person.
That's what I'm saying. If he's playing tonight, but if hypothetically he would have been quote unquote like broke his ankle, oh god, there would have been uproar.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
I would say that this was a pretty big uproar.
Yeah, and I think it brings up the point. I mean, I think John Shire is like, hey, something needs to be done, and I agree with it. I think
so. Currently, they still fine the school if
yeah,
there's
but like
court storming.
Yeah, but that, to be honest, to me, it's like I get it, and that's something, but also like it's I just don't like the money factor of it because it's like these schools make so much money.
Okay, so what's your solution?
Solution is to either stop it completely or somehow make it where it's like security, like you basically are like, you can't go until the other team has left the arena. And then keep the home team on there and let them celebrate.
So
if that's what you want.
What's your preferred?
Preferred is to not let it happen at all.
Really?
Yeah.
So you don't like fun?
No, I love fun, but I also look at it as if player gets hurt, like if the Gophers somehow storm the court, or a good team did, and hypothetically like this Filipowski breaks his ankle or gets seriously hurt and is out for the rest of the year, that's not good. That's not okay. And I think, sure, it's fun for the team to storm the court and it means a lot, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, so every time Duke loses, is the team going to storm the court? I don't know.
It happens to the big dogs a lot.
Well, that's what he said in his interview. What's crazy, John Shire said, it's happened to us a lot, which is not good, but it's going to happen.
Well, that's
you're
what happens
lose
when you're consistently solid.
Right. I think it should be done.
The hardest part is when court storming happens, everybody's running as fast as they can because they want to be the ones in the middle of the court.
They want to be, right in center. Yeah, 100%.
So I think that if they like set a timer and
so like 30 seconds.
You got 15 or 20 seconds to get off the court.
Yeah.
Then the court storm happens.
Yeah. I think it's just hard because
it's pretty electric.
It's very electric
in the court storming.
I just think the injury risk.
I mean, just remember when we stormed the field when the Gophers won.
Yeah, 100%. But by the time we got down there.
Yeah, it's different in football because you got to jump over a fence.
Yeah, but I do think it's one of those things too where, like you said, if they had somehow set like a timer, or they were like, hey, you can't go until all the players are off. Okay, then get your players run off, and then you're fine.
Hey, shout out to the Gustavus athletic staff.
Yeah, they did a good job.
I mean, that's good crowd control.
See?
Maybe they should be taking some notes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So,
I mean,
there was nobody hurt. They held off the fans. They let the team celebrate after. Quick shout out! They won the Maya playoffs. They let the team celebrate. Then they went through the handshake line. The fans wanted to storm the court. Then they were waiting. They went through the handshake line, and then they all came into the middle of the court.
Right. So what if it's not even a timer? What if it's just like after the handshake line, go?
I mean,
or at least have the coaches shake hands, and then you got X amount of seconds, like you said.
Yeah, 15 to 20 seconds.
But now the problem is, like he said, it's like you watch these court stormings, and it's like literally before the buzzer even goes off, these fans are almost on.
It's like right when it happens.
Yeah, it's like there's almost like a wall, and they're like, I'm going right. So
yep,
we'll see if something changes. I think something will, but
you think it will?
Yeah,
I think it will too.
I think they're going to escalate it. This whole thing.
You think it'll say it'll be?
I think it'll be axed. I think it's the easiest way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
think that it will be
reduced.
Or
like something will be in play.
I think they'll change the rules, but they won't take it. I mean, at a certain point, you can't take it away in its entirety.
It does. It is what.
So
makes
they'll change the rules to allow for more time to get off the court, or they'll figure out something to change the rules, but it won't be out completely.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll see.
There you go.
Yep.
Next thing, we're talking Joe Lunardi. He came out and said that the field of March Madness should be increased from 68 currently to 80 is his number. This comes 3 weeks before the tournament, so obviously it's not going to happen for this year, but he said that it should be a point of conversation in the future years. Do you think that 68 is appropriate, or do you think that 80 would be a better number?
I think I kind of like it how it is right now. I know, well, just looking at it, the articles and stuff of how they would do it, I think it's interesting to have teams like receive an opening round bye. Like, I get the incentive, and it means that you won your conference and you won the conference tournament.
You're gonna have to explain that a little bit.
So it basically is saying that if you're a double qualifier, you will receive.
Which is what?
So you win your regular season and you win the conference tournament.
Okay.
So if you do, you'll receive an opening round bye. They become part of a 48 team group, advancing directly into the tournament. So it also says that the other games, there will be 16 opening round games.
Okay.
Across all 4 regions.
And then that would be the other 32.
32. These games will be played at the home court of the higher seed, in quotes, without fans, which makes 0 sense.
Okay. So that's a separate piece of
that's how you get the 80.
This proposed structure from Joe Lenardi.
Yeah, Joe Lenardi. And I think,
so in terms of just like 80 overall, what
it just seems like a lot. I think the 64 is great because you have the 3 weekends or 4 weekends, and then it's like the championship, and it just makes it way more electric. Like, here's the goal is to have the best teams playing, and I feel like if you have an extra game or you get an extra bye, I just don't like it. Just have everyone play the same amount of games to win the championship.
Okay.
Because if you get a first round bye, and let's say hypothetically your team comes, well, you've already played 1 game.
Mm-hmm.
So does it help? Some people would argue yes. Some people would argue no. I think everyone should play the same amount of games. So I like the 68.
I think that it'll give us an idea. Is it where teams get buys for the college football, right?
The new thing is, I think it's
12 teams, right?
I think it's 12, and 8 don't, and 4 do.
Right, so 4 teams get buys. I think that will give us an idea of if getting a bye makes a huge difference or not. I mean, in football, I feel like it would make a bigger difference than basketball.
1,000%.
I mean, we've seen plenty of times in the years past where the team that's playing in that 11 versus 11 pigtail game that were one of the last 4 teams into the tournament, they go on a run and they win 2 to 3 to 4 games because they've got an extra game under their belt to kind of get the mojo going in the tournament. So we've seen that plenty of times. So for basketball, I feel like it would be almost more of an advantage to play the extra game.
Yeah. Yeah, because you kind of get that. I mean, the only other part about it would be like, okay, so you're playing on your home court. The without fans makes no sense, like I said, but you're playing on your home court, so you're not getting used to the arena. Where I think that's what most of the teams always struggle with early on in the first games is like it's a new arena, backdrops, everything's different. I think for sure in football, obviously you want the bye because it's obviously more physical sport. So you're like, hey, we want to rest our guys. We don't want our guys to beat up for next week. So it'll be interesting though. 80's a lot. 80's
a lot. The reason that he's saying is, I mean, it was 64 starting in 1985. We'll take a little history lesson. 64 in 1985. It went up to 68 in 2011. So whatever that is, 26 years. It was at 64. Then it changed to 68, adding the 4 play-in games, if you will, the 4 pigtail games, and then that happened in 2011. So we've had 68 since 2011. And the basis of this is apparently there's, I can't remember what committee it is, but they suggest that 25% of the D1 member schools in a specific sport have eligibility into the national tournament, and currently the March Madness tournament's at 18.8%.
Yeah, so it gets them close.
So it's a little bit lower than what it is. Well, a significant amount lower than what this committee suggests. So that's.
It would be interesting to know how they do. The last thing on this, how they do the team that gets the opening round bye if it's a team that doesn't double qualify. So like if Purdue wins the Big Ten Conference but doesn't win our conference tournament, who gets the bye? Because it says it's only double qualifiers. You know what I'm saying? It says teams winning both regular season and conference tournament championship will receive an opening round bye. It doesn't say anything else about what happens if they don't. So that's also something.
So,
right? You know what I'm saying?
oh, so depending on how many double qualifiers there are, the amount of at-large bids you either go down or up. That's what he's saying. So if you're a double qualifier,
It's
you
automatic.
automatically win, regardless of which conference that happens in. So you could be in the smallest conference in the country, but if you win the regular season and the playoffs, then you're automatically in. If not, then you might not be in the tournament because there's going to be at-large bids. And if you're in a smaller conference, you have a higher likelihood to get an at-large bid,
Mm-hmm.
but the easiest way is still going to be
Winning both.
yeah. The only issue is if you win the regular season and not the playoffs,
Yeah.
then, well, if you win the playoffs and not the regular season,
You don't get an automatic
then
bye.
you're pretty much screwed
Right.
if you're in a mid-major conference.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
I mean, this is obviously like the first rough draft, so
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
see.
Nothing's happening next year or the
Yeah.
year after.
No.
But now we're looking ahead this week. I think we did pretty well giving you some good games to look at last week.
Yeah. There were a lot of good games. I mean, this is kind of coming down
We're
to
coming down to it.
crunch time, and I think there's a lot more ranked on ranked games and / a lot more
Yeah, I
games
love
that
it.
are more meaningful.
Love it.
So, yeah.
So this time we're doing it a little differently. We're bringing back an aspect of previous episodes. We're doing it Fave 4 style. So if you've been with us since the beginning, we're doing Fave 4 games coming up this week. So we're gonna do it a little draft style, and we'll just go back and forth, regardless of which games are on either of our lists. They're gonna be ones that we think you should tune into.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll make it a little draft style here. Give you 8 games.
Yeah.
I don't think you can just go first.
Oh, okay. My first game is going to be Marquette at Creighton. I believe it's on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a big game. Creighton, obviously. I mean, I'm not trying to go in depth too much, but like Creighton's a team that potentially could make a run.
Yeah.
They have all the tools, but
Mhm.
this is a big game. Marquette's a good team, but
Yeah, up and
That
down,
Creighton.
up and down a couple games. Marquette up and down a couple games. So
yeah.
we'll see. I'm gonna go with Gonzaga and St. Mary's late night Saturday. It's a game that is 1-2 in the West Coast Conference. Gonzaga needs it to keep their at-large bid or at-large hopes alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's a win. If it's a game that if they win, then that will just strengthen their case to get in, regardless of if they win the postseason tournament or not.
Yeah. You go. Are we just going back and forth, or you going twice?
You can go.
Okay. So I'm sticking with that.
Okay.
Gonzaga
You're going.
plays at San Francisco
Yeah.
on Thursday.
Yeah.
I mean, just a tough week for Gonzaga.
Yeah, really tough.
Literally, this is the 2 games that out of the whole year probably. This week is probably the 2 games that matter. You're playing Thursday.
This is the one that matters the most.
Yeah,
for sure.
100%. I mean,
This week.
if you win both of these, you solidify yourself
Mhm.
in the tournament.
The other aspect. Do you got anything else to say about that?
Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
The other aspect of that game is it's big. We talked about it last week. The postseason tournament, the 1 and the 2 seed get the bye to the semifinals. If you're the 3 seed, you got to play an extra game. So Gonzaga at San Francisco, they're pretty much locked in at 2 and 3, like by a half game. So if San Francisco wins that and Gonzaga plays St. Mary's on Saturday, that could be really bad for them. My second game is going to be Dayton and Loyola Chicago on Friday. It's 1-2 in the
A10.
in the A10.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a big game, especially to see who's going to win the regular season championship.
Yep. My third game is Saturday. It's Kansas at Baylor.
Okay.
Both teams are kind of sitting there. I mean, both teams are 9-6 currently as of right now. Record will obviously change. They play a game before it, but Kansas coming off a tough loss. Baylor, it's been up and down, so we'll see what happens. It's a
If
good
you
conference.
had to pick who's gonna win that game right now, who are you picking?
I'm gonna say Baylor.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
would
Is
too.
Kevin McCullers done?
He's not playing right now.
I know, but I saw something that said that when Bill Self was talking about it, he was like, "We're hoping he comes back for the tournament." Like, is it that major?
I don't really know.
Yeah, I was gonna say the way he's talking, it seems like it's like
They need him though.
Uh,
If he doesn't play, then they could very well get out of the first weekend, but after that, it's a
it's a
risky.
Oh, you're talking about in the tournament?
I'm talking
Yeah.
March Madness.
Yeah.
Like they could win the first 2 games, get
Mhm.
to the second weekend, but then after that, anything is like house money.
Yeah,
I
anything's possible.
think that it's possible they lose that next game, especially that next weekend.
Yep.
My number 3 is going to be Montana Eastern Washington Thursday night. You got 1-2 Big Sky Conference. Eastern Washington's been taking that taking the schedule through the whole year, and we'll see if Montana can get them.
Yeah, that's a crazy. Yeah.
Eastern Washington's been the best team all year. They were the best team all last year. Then they just started falling off at the end. And
They were the team.
and they let Montana State go back to back. But this year, Montana State's not doing as well, and so you got Montana versus Eastern Washington. So we'll see if Eastern Washington can figure it out.
Mm-hmm. My game is Saturday night, right before the Gonzaga game. You got Tennessee at Alabama. Both teams at the top right now. The SEC. I mean, the SEC top just has. I mean, they're dominant.
Some dogs.
I mean, they are dominant. Their top 7 teams are all dominant, and then so see what happens. Big win for either team.
I'm gonna go with my last one is gonna be UMass Lowell and Bryant.
Oh, I love the Bryant boys.
For this reason, currently they're number 2 and number 3 in the America East Conference. And this conference does things a little differently. The number 1 seed gets to host the conference championship. Vermont has been the number 1 seed literally since it seems like the inception of this conference. They've been the number 1 seed, honestly, as long as I can remember. They are again this year. So it was in contention for UMass Lowell versus Vermont, which they play on Saturday. So a little bit of a Gonzaga situation where UMass Lowell's got to play Bryant, who's number 3 currently, and then they play Vermont, who's number 1 on Saturday. So that's a pretty tough back-to-back. But the reason I picked this game is because whoever wins this game is likely going to be the number 2 seed, which would mean that they would host the other team potentially, if everything kind of falls how it should, in the semifinals of the conference tournament. So that could make or break winning that semifinal game and getting to the championship.
Yeah, Vermont's a very good team.
Mm-hmm.
But so we'll see if either of these teams can. I mean, Bryant's always made a little push. They score a lot, but this year they're a little bit less than usual.
Well, they don't have the same coach.
Yeah.
He got in trouble. But we don't have to worry about that. There you have it.
Watch out.
College
all 8
basketball.
games. Could be good
Keep
ones.
up with us. 2 more weeks. 2 more episodes.
Until the big one.
See y'all later.
Peace.